Good morning, all. Today's topic of discussion is PLD Architecture and Applications Part 5. The objective of this lecture is to make the students familiarize with types of architecture and the logic implementation in FPGA. So, which are the different types of FPGA architecture? Fine grained and coarse grained. In fine-grained architecture, each programmable logic block can be used to implement only a very simple function. For example, it might be possible to configure the block to act as any three input function, such as a primitive logic gate, that is AND or NAND, etc., or a storage element like D flip-flop or D latch, etc. The fine-grained architectures are said to be particularly efficient when executing the systolic algorithm, that is, functions that benefit from massively parallel implementations. Fine-grained implementations require a relatively large number of connections into and out of each block compared to the amount of functionality that can be supported by those blocks. Now in the given diagram, you can see on the outer periphery, whatever CLB blocks are shown, those are having the fine grained structure and they can be connected to the internal, that is the core logic, which is indicated as EB, that is embedded part of the logic. So that embedded block is a coarse grained architecture, and this we can have the interconnection between this fine grained and coarse grained architecture with the help of switches. Now in the coarse grained architecture, each logic block contains a relatively large amount of logic compared to their fine grained counterparts. So here this EB part, that is the embedded part, contains the whole processor. For example, a logic might contain four input LUTs, 4 multiplexers, 4 type D flip-flops and some fast carry logic. As the granularity of the blocks increases to medium grained and higher, the amount of connections into the block decreases compared to the amount of functionality they can support. So, if the internal logic, that is the embedded processor, is made up of coarse grained, the outer connections are very few. So the speed becomes much faster for the coarse grained structure as compared to the fine grained structure. Fine grained structure is used to implement very small circuits, and the coarse grained architecture is used to implement the bigger logic. Now I'll go to the next part of the lecture, that is the logic realization techniques in FPGA. So there are two fundamental methods employed by vendors for the programmable logic block used to form the medium grained architectures referenced in the previous section. So in this medium grained architecture, we can implement the logic using lookup table or using multiplexer. So there are two logic realization techniques in FPGA, that is lookup table based method and the multiplexer based method. In the lookup table based method, an n input lookup table is that it can implement any possible n input combinational. So if it is a 4 input lookup table, that indicates the 4 variable logic can be implemented with the help of that. The underlying concept behind a lookup table is relatively simple. A group of input signal is used as an index or a pointer to the lookup table, and the contents of this table are arranged such that the cell pointed to by each input combination contains the desired value. So here first in short we will see what is this CLB structure for the FPGA, and then we will see how it is implemented. So in this FPGA structure we can see the lookup table. which are four variable lookup tables. There are two such lookup tables available. The first lookup table can implement the four variable function. The variables are G1, G2, G3, G4. The second lookup table can implement the another four variable function, which is having the variables F1, F2, F3, F4. And then there is one more lookup table with three inputs. So with the help of this type of structure, we can have any function of up to 4 variable plus any second function of up to 4 unrelated variable plus any third function of up to 3 unrelated variables. So first lookup table will implement 4 variable, second lookup table will implement another 4 variable function, and the third lookup table can combine the two, and it can also add one more input can be added to that, and it can implement the 3 variable function. So now we'll see with the help of these lookup tables how to implement the logic. We'll take one simple example. So the required function is y is equal to a and b, and then uh, it is or with c bar. So the truth table for this required function is ABC. These are the three inputs and Y is the output. So as three variables are there for the input, we can have the 8 possible combinations from all zeros to all ones, and the corresponding output is also written in the truth table. Now how this particular logical expression will be implemented in FPGA. So it is implemented in the form of a lookup table. So there are SRAM cells inside the FPGA architecture, and in that SRAM cell we can see that one by one the output is stored bit by bit. The output corresponding to A equal to 0, B equal to 0 and C equal to 0 is stored at the first place, and then that 000, that is the input, will act as a pointer, and then it is given to the multiplexer. The multiplexer select inputs are nothing but the inputs of the logical expression, that is ABC. So if ABC will be 0, the first location of SRAM cell will be read, and then that will be given as the output. If ABC all are 1, then the last location of SRAM will be considered, and then that will be outputted as the Y. So in this fashion, the logic will be implemented using the lookup table in the FPGA. So it has been statistically concluded that a 4 input LUT is best for the FPGA devices. One additional advantage of lookup table based programmable block is that the SRAM cells forming the lookup table can be used as a small block of RAM. The 16 cells forming a 4 input LUT, for example, could be used as a 16 by 1 RAM, and this is referred to as the distributed RAM. Also, all the SRAM cells are effectively connected in a chain, and this is so as to facilitate the programming. But this offers a new possibility of using this chain as a shift register. Because of all these advantages, majority of today's FPGA architectures are LUT based. So in this XE4000 series, how the logic is implemented, that we will see. So why can any 5 input function be implemented by a XE4000 CLB? So 4 variable we can directly implement as it is, that we have already seen. Now if we want to implement a 5 variable function, how it will be done? So we have the variables A, B, C, D, E, and we can apply any 4 variables to one lookup table. That is, for example, suppose I would like to apply B, C, D, E. Then A in my lookup table will have all entries 0 for the first 16 states, and for the next 16 states all entries will be logic 1. So accordingly we can divide the truth table into 2 parts, and we can have the implementation in this particular form. So all the entries corresponding to a equal to 0 will be implemented using lookup table 1. Entries corresponding to a equal to 0 will be implemented by using lookup table 2. And then to both the lookup tables, the input provided are B, C, D, E. That is LUT2 also. So the same inputs A, B, C, D, E are provided. And the variable A is provided to the lookup table 3. And in this fashion, we can implement a 5 variable logical expression with the help of these 3 LUTs. Is it possible to implement the 6 variable? Any function of 4 variable together with some function of 6 variable can be implemented by a single CLB. And this is how it is shown in the diagram. So one separate LUT2 can be used for a 4 variable function, and LUT1 again another 4 variables we can apply. So LUT1 and 3, 2 variables are remaining, so those we can apply to this. So first and second, these two are applied to this LUT3. So if it is a 6 variable, then AB can be applied here, C, D, E, F can be applied over here. So 6 variable function can be implemented with the help of LUT1 and 3, and one separate another variable which is 4 variable can be implemented with the help of lookup table 2. This is another example where we want to implement a 6 variable function. So how it can be done, that we will see. Now the logical expression is divided into two parts, FA and FA bar. So we have the variables A, B, C, D, E, F. So AB is taken outside, and then C, D, E, F that we can apply to the LUTs which can accept the 4 inputs. And for this AB, we have the different combinations like A is 1, B is 1, A1, B0, A0, B1, A0, B0. So these 4 possibilities are applied, and accordingly the expression is formed. And now we'll see how we can implement. So this is the first CLB with the help of which we can have the implementation of 5 variables. Then we have another block where we can have implementation of another 5 variables. The condition is here FA is considered, and the another CLB block is considering FA bar. And then the third block is used in which we can apply the output of first CLB, output of second CLB, and the variables A and 1, and then finally we'll get the output F. Now the another approach is using the multiplexer. So in this multiplexer logic implementation, it is implemented by the Actel family in ACT1. So in this particular implementation method, here we have taken the example of one AND gate which is having the 3 inputs A, B, C and output is Y. So how this will be implemented with the help of a multiplexer, that is shown. So the expression is divided in such a way that we have the choice for the third variable. The expression is in the form of a XOR gate, so that XOR gate can be easily implemented with the help of a multiplexer. So A and B is kept as it is multiplied by C or C bar into 0, and then this expression can be implemented with the help of a multiplexer. So the 3 input AND gate implementation is shown for this logical expression. So using the multiplexer also, instead of going for the lookup table, we can go with the help of a multiplexer over here, and we can do the implementation. This is another example. Now out of these two methods, which one is more suitable? or considering the speed factor, how we can compare the two. For a combinational circuit implemented by single memory block, its delay depends on neither of the function type nor the input transition pattern. So if we are implementing the logical expression with the help of a memory, that is the lookup table, then there is no question of speed. But if we'll consider it implementation using multiplexer, then the different signals may travel different path and the delay may be different. Like here the two figures are shown in which the function F1 is implemented by using the first circuit. Second circuit implements F2. Now the delay of F1 is smaller than delay of F2. That is because the delay path are equalized in the first case. Logic 1 and logic 0, which will be traveling through this multiplexer. In both the cases, the similar logic is implemented, which is the parallel logic. So hence the delay will be less. Now in the second case, here we can see this logic 1 and this another variable, they are applied to the same multiplexer here. So the path which will be traveled by this signal A, B and this 1, they will be different. So the delay for the second circuit will be more. So that is because the delay of OR gate is smaller than the delay of a multiplexer. So in this case, the delay may be different. That depends upon the path which will be taken by the signal. So to reduce the propagation delay, always place the signal which arrives late close to the output. So whichever signal is arriving late, we should place that signal close to the output. So the two cases are shown, and here it is given that signal E always arrives late. So if E is always arriving late, then we should keep that E close to the output. So this is a good practice in which this E is placed close to the output. So directly it is traveling only through this lookup table 2 and then output. Now here in this case, this is a bad practice in which we can see that E signal will be traveling first through lookup table 1, then lookup table 2 and then output. So this is a slow signal and it arrives late and it has to travel this much long path. So this is a bad practice. This is another example. This is using lookup table. This is using multiplexer. Here signal A always arrives late. So if A arrives late, then the good practice is we should use the smallest path travel for this A signal. And this is the bad circuit in which the A signal has to travel from this first multiplexer, second multiplexer and then arrive to the output. Then another consideration that we have to take is always try to balance the signal path to avoid the glitches. Now here the implementation of the logical expression is done in which the input are A and B and output is Y. So this is first arrangement in which CLB 1 and then CLB 2 is coming and then CLB 3. So A has to travel through 3 CLBs, B has to travel only through single CLB. So there is no balancing. This signal will reach early, this will take much time. So path delay will be more over here. Instead of this, we can try it in this way. So if two CLBs are parallel, A has to travel through this CLB, B has to travel through this CLB and they will reach at the same time to the CLB 3. So if possible, change the circuit implementation into the following style. So we can make our circuit in this way so that the path delays can be balanced and we can avoid the glitches in the output. Now about the packaging technology which is used for the FPGAs. So in diagram, that number 1 shows the bare die, the first one. Then the second one is dual inline package. So this is a DIP package. Third one is, this is the third one in which it is a pin grid array, PGA. Here the pins are distributed. So instead of using a single periphery, the multiple lines or the rows or columns are used so that we can have multiple pins and the bigger ICs can be accommodated in a small area. Then the small outline IC, that is 4, very small chip is formed. Then the quad flat package, that is this one. Generally in laboratory, whichever devices FPGA or CPLD will be using, we are using the plastic quad package. Then the plastic lead package, 6 number, that is this one. And last one is the leadless carrier, this type. Then we will see the difference between CPLD and FPGA. CPLD uses the function block for the logic implementation. FPGA uses the Versa block. CPLD contains macro cell, whereas FPGA contains logic cell. We have the product term allocator in CPLD, which will select the product terms developed by the function block. And here we have the function generator, that is the lookup table. For CPLD, we have D or T type of flip-flops as a memory element. In FPGA, we have only D flip-flops. In CPLD, we can have a local or a global clock. In FPGA, we have only global clock. CPLD implementation is using logic gates. FPGA implementation is using memory. CPLD gate connectivity is configures. FPGA memory is programmed. CPLD not good for math operation, whereas FPGA is good for all type of operations. CPLDs are not rich in interconnect, whereas FPGA are more rich in interconnects. In CPLD, we can have a predictable delays. FPGA, it is very difficult to predict the delays. These are normally non-volatile and FPGAs are normally volatile. As soon as we will switch off the power, the program will get erased. CPLDs are available with low gate count, whereas FPGAs are available with high cell count. CPLDs are good for space applications, whereas FPGAs are not good for space applications. There are not many evolutions are taking place in CPLD technology, but for FPGA, almost every 6 months, the new devices are coming. Evolution is taking place very fast in FPGAs. Thank you.